Tucker Carlson, I personally believe, should run for president. I think he's correct on Israel for the most part. I think he's correct to say that Israel is a cancerous plague on the United States insofar as it drags us into their wars, it takes our taxpayer dollars, and it commits horrific war crimes and genocide in the process. And it doesn't treat Christians all that well. It bombs Christian churches, historic Christian churches. It bombs innocent civilians each and every day. Since the start of the ceasefire, over 340, I believe 345 Palestinians have been killed. Over 1,500 buildings in Gaza have been demolished. It's insane what's going on. 70% of Gazans do not have access to the food that they need right now. Those stats I just listed are from an Israeli human rights organization called B'Tselem. B'Tselem has also said that what Israel's doing is a genocide. So you have Israeli human rights organizations that are saying they're starving the people in Gaza, they are slaughtering the people in Gaza, this is a genocide, and they are routinely destroying civil infrastructure in Gaza for no stated purpose other than to ethnically cleanse and force the people out. Tucker Carlson is correct to say that Israel is the greatest enemy of Western civilization. He's 100% correct to say that. And he's also correct that we need to end this special relationship with Israel. And he is really the only viable mainstream political personality in the United States that I think right now has the capacity to actually run for president. Candace Owens, you might say, Candace Owens. Okay, well, Candace Owens, I don't know. Maybe she does. Well, I think she actually has a very rich husband. I don't know what her personal wealth is, but I would imagine it is not the level at which Tucker Carlson's wealth is at. And for that reason, I think that he's probably the person in America who has the best shot of winning the presidency that could actually do it and who would have the best possible outcome for America and for the world. I'm not saying I agree on everything. Some people got upset when I said this earlier. They said, oh, a communist supports Tucker. He's not really a communist. It's like, well, actually, Tucker is pretty damn good on a lot of issues today. And yes, I disagree with him on certain things. Immensely, I disagree with him on certain things. But when it comes to the wars, when it comes to debt slavery, when it comes to traditional values, yes, I agree with Tucker 100%. Tucker came out this week, and on the Sean Ryan show, he said that Netanyahu is the Western civilization's main enemy. Take a listen.
They're enemies of Western civilization. Who are these people? Are they the Muslims? Are they the Jews? Are they, whatever people have always... No. They're not the Muslims. They're not the Jews. They're not the blacks. They're not whatever group you're blaming. They're any individual who doesn't acknowledge the human soul. Period. That the rights begin and end with the individual, not the group. Therefore, an attack on Western civilization looks like this. It's tribalism. It's identity politics. It's DEI. It's whatever. It's Zionism. It's any belief system that begins with the understanding that one group is morally superior to other groups. We don't think in terms of groups as Christians or Westerners. We think in terms of the individual. It's literally that simple. And the reason it's important to say this out loud is because there are so many interests vying for the mantle of defender of Western civilization. What does it mean to defend the West? I'm a Western, Netanyahu, I'm a defender of Western civilization. No, you're its enemy. Of course. You're literally its main enemy. Why? Because I don't like you. It has nothing to do with that. The reason that Netanyahu is an enemy of Western civilization is because he believes and has said out loud that we're fighting these people because of how they were born, because of their inherent evil. We don't believe in that. We believe every person is inherently flawed, but salvageable because God made every person. Why are the Nazis bad? The Nazis are bad because for that exact same reason. And so if you want to defend the West, you defend a single proposition, and everything emanates from that proposition. The individual has rights, which were given to him by God. Period. You don't have to be a Christian to defend that principle. There are a ton of Muslims and Jews and everybody else who believe that. So it's not about hate this group, hate that group, all of that shit is anti-Western.
Can't say I disagree with much there. Can't say that most Americans would disagree with much there. Unfortunately, if you were to say that as a member of Congress, you'd be crucified. You'd be actually crucified if you said that and you were a member of Congress. How do we know that? Because, I mean, like, look at what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She didn't even say that. She didn't say that Netanyahu is Western civilization's main enemy. But for simply speaking out against genocide, for saying we need peace with Russia, she even went along with the whole war talking points against Venezuela. And she was still, I need to resign because I'm getting attacked so much. No, I don't believe that. Clearly, they got some sort of dirt on her, some sort of blackmail against her, and they forced her to resign. You'd have to be so silly to think either there's two options here. Either she is resigning so she can run for president, which is a real possibility. I discussed the fact that I think she's going to run for president. Either that, or they got some sort of blackmail on her. There is no in between. There is no, oh, I can't handle the stress. Sorry, you're a member of Congress. She often talks about the fact that she needs to represent and serve the people of her district. She knows that if she resigns, some Zio is going to be in her place. So I don't think she lacks the moral impetus that is needed to actually do what is needed and serve her constituents by fulfilling her entire term in office. And suddenly she says she's gone. Suddenly she says she's resigning. The timing would add up if she wants to run for president, but also maybe she's not going to run for president. Her daughter came out and tweeted, her daughter's like on Twitter and stuff, and said, no, it's completely false. She's not running for president. I don't know, but I have a sneaking suspicion that maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe she's not going to run for president. Maybe she was just saying, I don't care anymore. I'm going to say what I want. This is the end of the road for me in terms of my career in Congress. And if that is true, I do think they got some blackmail on her. Now, Tucker Carlson seems to be a man that leads a very wholesome life. I don't think they can get dirt on him. I think if they could, they would have already done it, and they would have forced him to say things that he doesn't want to say at this point. But if you look at Tucker's trajectory, he's only gotten more and more based as time has gone on. That's really the truth. He's only gotten more and more based as time has gone on. He's only gotten more and more correct and outspoken in his opinions as time has gone on. And if they had blackmail on him, I don't think they would have let him interview Putin. If they had blackmail on him, I don't think they would have let him defend Venezuela. If they had blackmail on him, I don't think that they would have allowed him to say all the things that he said about Israel, about Iran, about Syria, about any of these countries that he talks about. Given that, I do think it would be extremely dangerous for him to be president. I do. It would be like having Thomas Massie as president. That's basically what it would be like.
Israel has way too much influence over our Congress. Obviously, 95% of members of Congress take money from a foreign lobby, AIPAC. Like, how is that defensible? What is that? Why is that allowed? It's certainly America's most insulting problem. It's so insulting to be ordered around by a country of 9 million people when you're the United States. Like, what? It's a totally irrelevant country. Its only relevance is we promised to protect them. Therefore, we're like involved in all this crap. You fought some of the wars. But if you take that out and you're just like, hey, you know, good luck, you're great, wish you well. We've imbued the country with all the significance that is not deserved. There are no resources. It's the size of Maryland. It's got 9 million people. Like, this is a big world, very complicated. And somehow our Congress and successive White Houses have decided that the only thing that matters is this tiny, irrelevant country. 95% or whatever the number is, if members of Congress take AIPAC money, how is that good? Shut up, Nazi! Mm-hmm. So if that's your only defense, you've lost. You've lost. You didn't even enter the game. Like, what's the counter argument? The country should be controlled by a country of 9 million people? Like, what are you even saying? No one agrees with that. I'm not afraid of you, man. I'm just not. And not because I'm so tough or brave or whatever, but because why would I be?
Now, Tucker, when you think about someone like him running for president, you have to understand that, okay, Tucker said that individual rights are the beacon of Western civilization. It's the foundation of Western civilization. Now, what is a core ideological foundation of, I'm saying ideological foundation of American civilization? Well, you could say some of these things. You could say also American pragmatism. I mean, that is an inherent belief that is really intrinsic to every great American thinker and American civilization. It's embedded in our culture up until really America entered into a permanent state of war. Up until that point, up until we entered into a permanent state of war and did not look back and did not think about the consequences, that was America. American pragmatism was really the heart of our country. And Tucker is just that. He embodies the American pragmatic mind. He is not an ideologue in the sense that you think of with, well, I don't know, me. I'm an anti-imperialist. I'm a communist. I have a clear ideology that guides my path forward, that is principled all across the globe. With someone like this, I mean, he is a pragmatist. When you look at me and you say, oh, gosh, I wonder what Jackson's opinion is going to be on a U.S. threat against Nigeria, for example. Well, I say that I don't like the government in Nigeria. The government in Nigeria is a U.S. puppet government. By and large, there are some exceptions. The foreign minister is a bit better than the president, Tinubu. But when you look at Nigeria, you have to understand what is going on here. You have to understand that the goal of the U.S. and Nigeria is to exploit the resource, destabilize the country, weaken it, exploit the resources, and strip it of its sovereignty, strip it of its ability to industrialize, develop, and prosper. Well, as an anti-imperialist, as a communist, I say that is not something I would support. But Tucker, I don't know. He is a pragmatic thinker, and maybe in some way, shape, or form, he views that as a pragmatic ambition, a pragmatic goal of the United States. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I agree with Tucker on everything all the time. But saying stuff like what he just said in that video is absolutely forbidden in Washington, D.C. You know what happens to you. You get Miriam Adelson, you get Robert Shillman, you get all these people, Bill Ackman, putting $20 trillion, billion, million dollars up to finance an opponent against you, funded by AIPAC, funded by the state of Israel, in effect, and you're done. That's what goes on here. And if you're not done, well, they have other means to silence you as well. You know what I mean? They have blackmail, and they have the ultimate threat against you and your family. Tucker is seemingly, at this point, somewhat immune from these threats. He's not, in effect, immune, but he has, whatever he has done up until this point in his life, he has safeguarded himself from any of these threats, any of these avenues of persuasion or force that the establishment attempts to throw at anyone who speaks out. And that's why I think he's a very interesting, he would be a very provocative choice for anyone to support as president of the United States. You don't have to agree with him all the time. That's what being an American is all about. You can disagree. You can say he's wrong. I do say he's wrong on certain things, but it's undeniable that he is probably the best shot we got right now. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.